Most people learn the truth about their family slowly. A comment here, a mistake there, a strange feeling that something isn't right. But me? I learned the truth lying unconscious on an operating table while my father signed a DNR order next to my name, telling doctors to let her die. Why? Because I was worth more to him dead than alive. Before I continue, make sure you subscribe to Scarlight Stories, because this tale isn't just shocking, it's the kind that makes your blood boil. My name is Ariana Blake, and until 6 months ago, I thought my life was stable. Maybe not perfect, but stable. I had a calm job at a design firm, paid my own bills, and kept distance from my father, Richard Blake. But he wasn't always like that. There was a time when he was the dad who carried me on his shoulders and laughed at my drawings. Then my grandfather died, and suddenly, money changed everything. Grandpa left behind a $30 million estate, half to my father, half to me. But there was a catch, a condition my father pretended didn't exist. I would only receive my $15 million at age 30. I was 28, and my father, he was drowning in debt from failed business deals, luxury spending, and a lifestyle he couldn't maintain. I was his solution, or rather, my death was. It all started on a rainy Thursday night. I was driving home from work, exhausted after a brutally long day. Lightning cracked across the sky, and rain turned the road into a shimmering mirror. I didn't see the black SUV until it was too late. It slammed into my car, hard. Metal crunched, glass shattered. My world flipped. Somewhere between the crash and losing consciousness, I heard a man's voice outside the wreckage. "Is it done?" A pause. "Good, walk away." That should have been my first clue, but I didn't remember those words until much later. The next time I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed, barely conscious, machines beeping around me, my body in excruciating pain. I heard voices, my father's voice. "Why would we pay for this?" he snapped. "The surgery costs too much and she won't fully recover anyway." Then another voice, one I didn't recognize. "But sir, without authorization? She's 28. She has no spouse, no children. Let her pass."
My breath hitched. I tried speaking, moving, anything, but I was trapped inside my own body. The doctor hesitated. "Mr. Blake, she needs immediate surgery or she won't make it." Silence. Then my father said 4 words that froze my blood. "Let me sign DNR. Do not resuscitate." For his only daughter, the pen scratched paper, a signature, a decision, a death sentence. Time blurred, the world faded in and out. The next thing I knew, someone else was in the room. A woman's voice, firm, sharp, angry. "What the hell did you just sign, Richard?" It was my estranged aunt, my mother's sister, Sophia. She hadn't spoken to my father in years, but she loved me like her own. "This isn't your business," my father barked. "The hell it isn't," she snapped. "She's my niece, and I know exactly why you want her dead." A chair scraped. Footsteps. "You think I don't know about the inheritance?" she continued. "You think I don't know you're broke? You want her gone so you can take her $15 million. I wanted to scream. Yes, yes, she's right. But my body wouldn't respond. My father clicked his tongue mockingly. "Believe what you want," he said coldly, "but this hospital runs on consent forms, and I'm the parent. She's better off dead. She's a burden." A burden. That word cut deeper than the crash ever did. Then I heard another voice, someone I didn't expect. "You don't have parental rights anymore." My aunt's voice trembled with fury. "You lost them 5 years ago when the state revoked them after your DUI and abusive behavior. Your access to her medical care should have been blocked. My father snorted. You think a piece of paper's going to stop me? But then, someone else entered the room. A nurse. Sir, we need to speak privately. The administrator reviewed the court records. You're not legally authorized to make medical decisions for her. Silence. A rare, priceless silence. My father tried to argue, but the nurse cut him off. You do not have the authority to sign a DNR for her. That document is void. 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 It echoed in my head like a life raft. And then, for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I felt something like air fill my lungs. They weren't going to let me die. Not yet. My aunt stepped closer to my bed, her voice softening. Ariana, sweetheart, you're safe now. I'm here. My father left in a rage, slamming the door so hard it rattled the walls. Over the next few hours, everything changed. My aunt legally took over my care. Doctors checked my vitals, plans were made for emergency surgery. But the biggest shock came when the surgeon pulled my aunt aside and spoke quietly. Her injuries, they don't line up with a simple accident. My aunt's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? There are signs the car was hit deliberately, multiple impact points, a coordinated strike. My aunt went still. Are you saying someone tried to kill her? Yes, the doctor replied. This wasn't just a crash. This was an attempt. I felt my heart thudding in my chest. Someone tried to kill me, and my father tried to finish the job. But there was something worse. Something the surgeon said next. When we ran scans, we found something else. Something implanted in the wreck. Something we're analyzing. My aunt asked, what kind of something? The doctor hesitated. It looks like a tracking device. A tracking device? Meaning, they planned to hit me again if the first attempt didn't work. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, the doctor added, we also found financial documents in her bag, unsigned trust forms that transfer her inheritance early. My aunt froze. Transfer it to who? The doctor hesitated. To her father. My aunt turned pale. Everything clicked. The crash, the DNR, the lies, the timing. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't fate. My father wanted me dead. And he wasn't done. Because right then, just outside the hospital room, I heard his voice again. Move aside. I'm going in there. My heart stopped. He was back. And this time, he wasn't alone. My father's voice outside the hospital room sent a cold spike straight through my spine. Move aside. I'm going in there. His tone wasn't angry anymore. It was worse. It was controlled, calculated. The kind of voice someone uses when they've already decided what happens next. My Aunt Sophia stiffened beside my bed. She exchanged a look with the nurse stationed near the door, a silent, urgent warning. He can't be in here, the nurse whispered. He's not legally allowed. But that didn't stop him, because suddenly, bang! The door swung open so hard it smacked against the wall. My father stormed in, flanked by two men in dark suits. Men I recognized instantly. His business partners. The ones rumored to be involved with illegal money operations. The ones who had mysteriously appeared in our lives right after Grandpa's death. The ones who looked at me now like I was nothing more than an obstacle. My father's expression twisted when he saw me awake. You, he hissed through clenched teeth. You weren't supposed to wake up. My aunt stepped in front of him, arms spread wide like a shield. You need to leave.
You're trespassing and violating court orders." He laughed, actually laughed. "You think a court order is going to stop me?" His voice dropped. "She's my daughter. I'll do what needs to be done." He took a step forward, but 3 security guards rushed in behind him, grabbing his arms. "Sir, you need to exit the room," one said firmly. "Don't touch me," he roared. "She owes me everything. Everything should have been mine." My aunt shouted, "You tried to kill her for money." My father stopped struggling. He turned and smiled at her. Cold, dark, evil. "Not money," he said softly. "Survival."
The men in suits stepped forward, but a second wave of hospital security blocked their path. "I suggest you gentlemen wait outside," the guard said calmly. My father snarled, but after a tense standoff, they backed away and disappeared into the hall. Security forced my father out too, even as he kept yelling, "This isn't over. You don't understand anything. I had to do it." The moment the doors closed behind him, I finally breathed again. But the relief didn't last, because my aunt's expression had changed. Gone was the fury, gone was the panic. Now she looked afraid, truly afraid. "Ariana," she whispered, sitting at the edge of the bed. "There's something I didn't tell you, something your father has been hiding for years." My stomach tightened. "What kind of something?" She swallowed hard. "Your inheritance, the $15 million, isn't just money. It wasn't supposed to be about luxury or wealth. Your grandfather left it to you because..." She hesitated. "Because you were the only heir he trusted to handle the company he built." I blinked. "What company?" "Ariana," she said softly, "your grandfather owned 3 international manufacturing plants, 2 real estate empires, and held patent rights for medical devices. The total estate wasn't $30 million. I felt the room sway. It was worth $120 million when he died. My heart nearly stopped. "And it's worth more now," she continued. "Much more." I stared at her, my mouth dry, my chest tight. "Why didn't Grandpa tell me?" Her eyes softened. "He did. Every year. In letters he mailed to your father's house." "Letters I never received." My aunt's voice broke. "Your father hid them from you. All of them." Before I could speak, the hospital door cracked open again, but this time it was a detective. Tall, serious, no nonsense. "Miss Blake?" he asked. My aunt stood. "We called you. Thank you for coming." The detective nodded and approached my bed. "I'm Detective Harris. I'm investigating the crash." My pulse quickened. "Crash?" I whispered. "I thought it was an accident." His expression hardened. "It wasn't." He set a file on my lap. Inside were printed photographs. My car, 5 impact points, a foreign object embedded in the bumper, tire tracks matching an SUV, and then the photo that made my blood run cold, a grainy security image of the SUV moments before crashing into me. The driver, a man in a black cap, but the passenger, the one looking straight out the window, was my father. I slapped a hand over my mouth. Detective Harris continued. "We also found this inside the SUV's door panel." He held up a small black device, a tracker, the same one the doctor mentioned earlier. My aunt whispered, "Oh my God." Detective Harris straightened. "Ms. Blake, your father hired someone to hit your car. We have evidence he paid them from an offshore account." My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. "He tried to kill me."
I whispered. Yes, the detective said. And we believe he planned to finish the job once you were admitted to the hospital. My aunt squeezed my hand. You're safe now. We'll make sure of it. But the detective wasn't finished. He pulled out one more photo. This one made my entire world tilt. It was the inside of my father's office. A desk, open drawers, scattered papers, and circled in red marker, a document titled New Beneficiary, Richard Blake. Under reason for transfer, deceased heir. I nearly threw up. The detective spoke gently. Your father filed paperwork to take full control of your inheritance, scheduled to be activated the moment the hospital declared you dead. My throat burned. Tears stung my eyes. But I wasn't crying from sadness. No, it was something else entirely. Fury. Raw, white-hot fury.
My father tried to kill me. Not out of hate, not out of fear, not out of desperation, but out of greed. And he wasn't finished, because the detective added, we believe he planned to flee the country tonight, with everything. Before I could process any of it, the doors slammed open yet again. But this time, it wasn't my father. It was someone I never expected to see in a hospital at all. Someone who should have been dead. Someone who had been missing for 18 years. I gasped. My Aunt Sophia froze. The detective stepped back. The man at the door whispered, Ariana, it's me. And I recognized him instantly. Despite the years, despite the scars, despite the impossible reality of it all, the man was my mother, alive, standing in my doorway after 18 years. For a moment, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. The man standing in the doorway, the man everyone believed had died 18 years ago, the man whose funeral I cried through, whose memory shaped my entire childhood, was alive. My Aunt Sophia covered her mouth. Detective Harris stepped forward, stunned, and I, broken, bruised, barely stitched together, felt the world tilt beneath me. Mom? I whispered, but the voice that answered wasn't feminine, wasn't soft. No, sweetheart, the man said, voice trembling. I'm your father, your real father. My blood ran ice cold. What? He stepped closer, tears filling his eyes. Ari, sweet girl, it's me, Daniel, your mother's husband, the man who raised you. My chest tightened. But you died. They told me you died. Dad, Richard told me. He lied, Daniel whispered. He lied about everything. Detective Harris held up a hand. Sir, we need you to explain how you're standing here alive when your death certificate indicates you passed away 18 years ago. Daniel swallowed hard.
I didn't die. I was forced to disappear. My aunt's eyes blazed with rage. You mean Richard forced you out? I knew it. I knew it. Daniel nodded. Richard and I were business partners. Your grandfather wanted me, not Richard, to help run the company when he passed. Richard hated that. He always hated that I had your grandfather's trust. His jaw clenched. But when your mother died, Richard snapped. He wanted everything. Full control, the wealth, the power. He framed me for embezzlement, bribed 2 officials, and convinced the world I died in an accident. My entire body went numb, and I would have stayed hidden forever, Daniel continued. But when I heard about your crash, when I heard he signed a DNR, his voice cracked. I couldn't stay away anymore. I couldn't let him finish what he started. Tears broke free from the corners of my eyes. Dad? My voice trembled. My real dad? He nodded, and for the first time in 18 years, I saw the man who once held me as a baby. Detective Harris cleared his throat. Mr. Blake, Richard Blake, is attempting to flee. We have officers tracking his location, but if there's anything else we need to know about his finances, motives, or connections, now is the time. Daniel exhaled shakily. There's more. Much more. He reached into his coat and pulled out a USB drive. This contains Richard's hidden accounts, illegal transactions, and offshore laundering trails. I've been collecting it for years, waiting for the day he'd slip up. My aunt almost collapsed in relief. This is enough to bury him. My father, the man who tried to kill me twice, the man who stole my letters, my inheritance, my childhood, was finally going to face justice. Before the detective left, he gave us one final warning. He's desperate, cornered, dangerous. Be careful. And he wasn't wrong, because less than an hour later, alarms began blaring through the hospital halls. Lockdown! Lockdown! Code Silver! A security alert, meaning an armed individual was in the building. My heart stopped. My aunt grabbed my hand. Daniel stepped in front of us. And then, gunshots echoed down the corridor. Chaos erupted outside. Doctors rushing, nurses yelling, security running toward the sound. I couldn't move. Every muscle froze. Then a voice shouted, "He's on the 6th floor!"
It was him. Richard. My father had come back. But this time, he wasn't hiding behind lies or paperwork or staged accidents. He was coming to finish what he started. He slammed the door open so hard the glass cracked, a gun in his hand, sweat dripping down his face, eyes wild, beyond reason, beyond humanity. He pointed the gun straight at me. "You were supposed to die," he snarled. "You ruined everything, everything!" Daniel stepped in front of me instantly. "You'll go through me first," he growled. Richard laughed. "Oh, please. I should have finished you off years ago." His finger tightened on the trigger. Richard Blake dropped the weapon. Security had arrived, 4 officers with guns drawn. But Richard didn't drop his weapon. He spun toward the officers, screaming, "She stole my life! She stole my future! She—" Bang. A single shot. He collapsed instantly. The room went silent. Then the officers rushed in, securing his weapon and cuffing him as he groaned on the floor, alive but immobilized. "You're under arrest," one officer barked, "for attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud, and evading law enforcement." Richard's eyes locked on mine. "You think you've won? You think any of this matters?" I met his glare with calm strength. "Yes," I whispered, "because I'm alive, and that's something you'll never be able to undo." He looked away as they dragged him out of the room, defeated, exposed, destroyed. The hospital fell silent again. Daniel sank into a chair, wiping tears from his eyes. My aunt hugged me tightly. For the first time since the crash, I felt safe, truly safe. And when Detective Harris returned hours later, he delivered the final blow. Richard Blake's accounts have been frozen. The board has transferred your grandfather's company to you. My breath caught. "All of it?" I whispered. "Every asset, every property, every trust. Your grandfather intended it that way." My aunt squeezed my hand. "You're finally free." Daniel nodded softly. "And now we can rebuild everything you lost." I looked at the people who truly loved me. My aunt, my real father, the people Richard tried so hard to erase. And I realized something. Richard didn't fail when his plan fell apart. He failed the moment he underestimated me. The end. If you loved this story and want more jaw-dropping twists, betrayals, and endings where justice comes full circle, don't forget to subscribe to Scarlight Stories for your next binge-worthy tale.